Click record and say, yo, what up? How's it going?
It's going pretty good.
Good to hear. This is your first deck doctor, correct?
Yes.
Wonderful,
Yes.
wonderful, wonderful. Okay, so what we're going to do is you're going to shoot me the elevator pitch of your deck. You're going to shoot me what you're looking to have doctored, and we'll tackle it together. While you're chatting, I'm going to go snag some stuff and toss it into the sideboard to chat about. Okay?
All right.
All right, hit me with it.
So basically, I got into My Hero pretty recently, right, I think the week after Crimson Rampage came out.
Okay.
I've been a competitive Yu-Gi-Oh player for about 6 years, and I've done pretty well. But this game, honestly, just like I can't even lie, it stole my heart.
It's tight, right? It's so good.
Yeah. It's so. I don't even know how to describe it. There's just so many interactions, so many things to do, so many things you have to think about. And not in like a big like jumbly mess like Yu-Gi-Oh kind of is,
Yeah.
where like an entire card, like one card in your hand decides the game.
Right.
My very first deck I made was Toga, and it was obviously, very bad. And then flash forward like a month and a half, and I remade the Toga deck, and like testing with my friends who are just now getting into the game too, but obviously we're also, or I guess not obviously, but we're very competitive minded too. It was the first deck where it just felt really unfair, with like, face shields, wall clings. But I kind of had a problem where like against something like Fourth Kind, the HP, the vitality was just too vast. I had nothing I could do to like kill quickly enough, whereas like, my face shields run out, my wall clings run out, and I'm not able to, kill quickly enough. And then I tried just today Mina Ashido, and it just like screams like so much Toga energy, but like with so much more offense and like so much more defense that actually makes sense. In the fact that it like late game doesn't have to keep wasting health just to give something speed, and then like your attack connects and you get the health back. Whereas Mina is just like, okay, one speed, if it deals damage, gain health, and I'm not making you pay anything for it.
Right.
Along with the fact that you could just, play your normal, like, the problem with Toga being like, I'm playing 1, 2, 3 attacks to try to kill my opponent, but progressive difficulty is getting really annoying and stopping me from doing it.
Right.
Whereas this deck is kind of like, 1, 2, 3 attacks, max, and then, oh, I checked an attack, I can just slam it onto the board and send it in. And especially with like Cannon Blast there, just like checking a Cannon Blast and playing it for free and then committing 3 for this just massive attack felt really amazing.
Starts at 5 high with your character. That seems pretty good.
Yeah, definitely. And it's like so often just it's gonna hit. Like it just gets way too fast. Any deck that like has a way to boost speed with Cannon Blast seems just kind of unfair, honestly.
I agree completely. Yeah, so what's the goal? What's the goal of the deck doctor? What are you looking for?
So like I said, I'm really inexperienced, and this is going to be my deck probably for Orlando.
Nice, I'll see you there.
Oh yeah. But I don't have like much experience with the actual tournament scene and what it's like to play in the game yet, and I'm wondering like the list feels really good. Like I'm playtesting with other people around me, and this deck has been just a menace so far. But I'm wondering like because there's only so many matchups I can test. I'm wondering if there are any like glaring problems in this list, like you're gonna go up against a this deck and just have no chance with outside cards, I guess.
Sure. Yeah. First and foremost, that doesn't really exist in our game. There's not a lot of I'll talk to you as a Yu-Gi-Oh player. There's not a lot of floodgate characters that exist, right? Like the closest you can get is actually the last one that we saw was like a Kagure, right? Who is kind of that answer. But there's not a ton of 90-10 matchups just strictly based on the character. I think the number one thing that I see about your list is it's not very wide. It does not cast a very wide net. It's very narrow. If we look at the quantity of your cards, 4 diff, 4 diff, 4 diff, 4 diff, 4 of, 4 of, 4 of, 4 of, all these 4 ofs, and then 2 2 ofs, as opposed to this game loves 1 ofs. This game loves 3 ofs. Consistency is a good thing, but does having 4 high value targets, is that on board? Is that any better than having 3 high value targets on board? Do you need 3 high value targets, or do you only need 2? Do you only need 1? Could that be a glamorous, maybe? Could that be someone with style, right? There are these other options that you have where we could cut some numbers down and widen out our deck and it feel probably better. But that is I mean, it's your deck. We get to figure that out and explore it together. But anyways,
Like my big thing is just like from a Yu-Gi-Oh centric kind of standpoint was just you play. I guess up until the last few years or so, or maybe formats, it's been like play a 40 card list, and have as many 3 of your good cards as possible, and then the minute that you stretch your deck past 50, the minute you start including these little fun ofs, as they're like called, like these things that cast your net wide, you just have less powerful cards in your deck, and that's kind of been what I've been going with. Like, I mean, stuff like Back Alley Haymaker, how do you not play 4 of it? Overhead Reversal, how do you not play 4 of it? Excited for Blood, etc. Faith Shield just has been like one of the most powerful cards ever, and I feel like one of the only ways to like cheek in or sneak in a win against like a really good player playing Asui or Tokoyami is to Faith Shield their first attack, and then have their progressive difficulty be, worsened for the rest of the turn, block some attacks, and try to survive. Because 20 health, I'm not going to be able to do much if I'm not blocking and interrupting things.
I completely agree. Let's I'm gonna talk to you as a Yu-Gi-Oh player, right? So for context, the last format that I played was Shadal's Klee's Necros, is that the name of the deck?
Yeah, 2015, maybe 2014.
Right. And I was able to say the 3 decks, and you knew what it was of Shadal's Klee's Necros.
Yeah, of course.
What rogue decks existed then? You don't know. The thing about our game is our top decks, there's like 10 or 12 of them. And so if you do have this really tight net where maybe you're really good versus 3-4 decks, but these fun ofs, as you called them, are going to be relevant versus the other decks, as well as the other 40 characters that are B tier that can come in and play your moves just as well, right? And so this deck wants you to spread out way more than, or this game wants you to spread out your deck choices way more than most other competitive card games, because we actually have you could say upwards of like being a little giving, like 25 competitive decks could go top 16 this weekend. They could.
Yeah, for sure.
But anywho, unless,
so you
go ahead.
Yeah, so you think that like not just the meme decks, I guess, the less good decks that are not as worth caring about are still actually worth caring about enough to dilute the deck with things that cater to those decks instead.
I'll use this because he's my favorite character. You're gonna feel real bad losing a Deku 1. Right?
Yeah.
You're gonna feel real bad losing to Deku 1 because like you decided that 4 Face Shield was the answer as opposed to 3 Face Shield and one new trading method to grab an extra block, right? Or to build a little faster than him, or so on and so forth, right? And so like the difference between going from 4s to 3s to 2s to 1s can make that difference. You get 10 cards on a sideboard. Why isn't the 4th Face Shield in the sideboard and you play Passing the Torch instead, right?
Yeah, I think I don't want to make too much of an example of it, but Faith Shield specifically has been the kind of card where like if I see I have multiple in my hand, I'm just ecstatic. Like I'm safe. I'm just not gonna die. Like
interesting.
That's kind of it.
That's not my experience with Face Shield, but I mean you're playing different games than I am, right?
Yeah, I mean I think like the 4 high value target helps with that. Release, essentially like pushing your face shields to their limit, like they're like very, very easy, going to block something. And throws are just really oppressive right now, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Just taking away the option to block and then go to momentum, especially with like electric jolt. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, that's just how my experience has been. But yeah, I definitely want the advice of someone who's played like every matchup, or
Yeah.
most every matchup.
I pretty much have. I do claim that I'm the person who's played the most universes in the world at this point.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay, so let's just talk about the cards that I put in the sideboard, right?
Yep.
First and foremost, I want to talk about Ready Set Go. This card is nuts. This card is crazy. You're a 7-hand size life character. You probably should be mainboarding at minimum 3 of this card in conjunction with New Training Method. It means that you get to build 3 cards on your opponent's first turn, and that means that you just get to win the game. On your next turn, you get to build 3 cards, 4 cards, have 8 foundations, look at your opponent with 3 cards in your hand, and be like, you can't kill me. And so this card is actually fairly unfair in these 7-hand size life characters.
Yeah. Believe me, Ready Get Set Go is at 4 of in my side deck.
Okay.
I've felt kind of like with this card that I'm not needing that power boost to win when I go second, because I just am able to build 5 or 6, being Mina. I can just play my 4 or 5 foundations, and on the last one, if I check a foundation, I'm just like, okay, I'm going to slap it onto the board too.
Right.
But definitely is in the side whenever I know I'm going second. I feel like, specifically against like fourth kind, and this is another like, I'm metagaming it maybe a bit too hard for this game, but
No, by all
just
means.
against like fourth kind, if I play a Ready Get Set Go, because they didn't build 4, they're 5 hand size, they're pretty regularly going to build 3.
Yeah.
If I play it, check a 3, and have 1 less foundation to do my plays, it is actually really scary to get once per gamed on the first turn and get like, even if I don't die, just all the chip damage in the world, like, take out 16 from me.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's also got that gnarly 1 high block is the other thing, right? Like, it's okay just to hold it and block
Yeah.
something that matters, right? Block their setup strike. I mean, that saves 5 health.
Yeah, that's fair too.
Next is passing. This card's fucked up. this card's pretty good. Commit, draw a card. If you got no cards in your hand, draw 2. A lot of times as you're a 7-hand size character, especially with how aggressively you say that you're building, you're going to be having 2 cards in your hand to defend yourself with. They play that 3rd attack, it's free. Well, not with passing, you get to draw it, and if needed, you just panic blow it up with release. Just like get it out of there.
Yeah, I found that I generally have like 2 or 3 cards in hand, yeah, and then by the time that they're exhausted, I've like either been stunned out to the point where it doesn't matter if I have 2 more cards in, I'm not going to be able to block anything. My card pool is going to be too thick and all that mess. So I've also felt like, with my like 18 attack situation in the 50 card list, I haven't really needed to dig deeper ever, especially with the fact that Mina is just like, any hand can become a +1 attack hand out of nowhere.
Right. That's fair. That is fair. Next is Glamorous. This card lets you unflip cards, specifically for Wall Cling, and anything you decided to flip with Tight-Lipped, as well as if my opponent tries to slow down your Cannon Blast, you can say no. This card beats the response commit on Specialist with Sound at just the flip cost. Might be a sideboard play. And so this is just a 1 card answer to beat the best attack, your finisher in your deck, right? This just protects this card.
Yeah, for sure. That does actually seem pretty nice. Where do you think that could be fit in? Because I don't think, with 2 Wall Cling, 4 Tight-Lipped, and then, flipping the Excited for Blood, that's definitely nice, but
yeah,
I don't know. Just like a 2 of maybe somewhere?
So my big question is that number Holy cannoli, my guy. All right, we gotta fix
Yeah.
that. Okay. Is this number? Are you sold on it? Are you married to 50? Am I allowed to go above 50?
I think I'm honestly married to 50.
Okay.
The problem, I actually, started experimenting with going up to like 56, 58, and then like 62, I think was the biggest deck I've built recently. And then
Okay.
just the variance of drawing these like 5 attack hands, and then later on in the game, drawing just like 6 foundations or something like that would just felt way too rough. And then it's something that I, obviously anecdotal evidence. I haven't tested the game like a ton,
Right.
but just after going back down to 50, I've never really ran into that problem at 50.
That is fair. That is fair. I guess the main cards that I could see cutting, right? Because if I'm not allowed to just slam them on top, the main cards I see cutting are Infinite Potential. I think this card sucks. I think this card's not very good. Its best qualities are it's a 1/5/1 high block, but we have so many high blocks specifically on our attacks. High, mid. You actually have 0 cards that are low blocks, which is why I want to put Tongue Whip in your deck somewhere. Probably at a 2 of, take Neck Gun, put it down to a 1 of, and put Tongue Whip in. This card also gets to be a kill condition. This card's not fair, but we'll get there. I would probably take like a 2 of the Infinite Potential out, and then maybe we'll go and try and find ourselves. Maybe honestly, maybe just these other 2 self-sacrifice and put 4 of this card in, and then the 2 Glamorous, and call it there.
Yeah, I'm kind of on the same page you are, because Infinite Potential itself is very lackluster. It's kind of just been a band-aid for the fact that I'm playing so many high blocks, and back to the metagaming situation. I know Tokoyami and Asui are going to come in with a ton of high attacks, and I really want to be ready for that.
Yeah, that is totally fair.
Those are some of the only decks that I'm super scared of.
You say that until Tongue Whip kills you as the 4th move, and then Ice Storm kills you as the 4th move in Tokoyami.
Yeah, for the
how I
little
lost
like
in Vegas. It was Tim Keefe, my round 6 opponent, the guy who ended up winning the whole thing. It was either do I play the high attack and I had the block for it, or do I play the low attack and I didn't have the block for it. And so like highs are very scary until they swing a low.
Yeah, my experience has just been that Wall Cling and Faith Shield, and then like half blocking kind of just carries the package there. Like, I'm definitely afraid of like indiscriminate shock, but I don't know exactly how afraid I need to be. Like those cards too, just like Faith Shield being able to carry that weight. Basically just being a mid, high, and low essentially for most cards.
Right. So what are your thoughts on this Infinite Potential? You down to cut it for the 2 self-sacrifice, 2 Glamorous, or you want to keep it in there?
That actually sounds perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's rock that there, and then self-sac goes up to the 4 of. Oh, hello, Glamorous. From there, someone with style. You said that you kept getting stunned out. This card beats that interaction.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's definitely in my side deck right now.
Okay.
I've got 2 copies of it. I don't know if I'm like so afraid of being stunned out that I would play in the main deck, because my release is a really good band-aid on getting stunned out. And then high value target being like something that I can just keep there to not get stunned, and stun everything else is also really important in that situation.
Right. Yeah, that does make sense. I mean, if you were to do it, it would be like 1 Excited for Blood and then something else. Maybe even like Wall Clings, but I don't know. It's because I don't have any room to mess with it. You've given me a lot of the core things, and I can't like. It could be like I could take out Battle Resolves, right? But like you're playing these 8 cards to go and snag these cards, and so like it makes sense for me not to take them out. But like I think this card is not very good. I think this card is kind of bad. The
Yeah,
fact
it
that you
kind
have
of does
release
nothing.
and tight lift already as 8 targets, it's there, but at the same time, most people aren't playing overhead reversal. They're just playing back alley haymaker. So like here's 4 attack slots to do stuff with, which I'm gonna try and convince you to maybe trade out for like naval laser beam or tongue whip.
Yeah, I've played like only like 12 matches with the deck because I built it today, but
12
I've
matches all
got
today.
yeah.
Holy cow, man!
I'm
We're
like I
grinding.
said, I'm for Yu-Gi-Oh! I was going hard.
Yeah,
But and I want to try to do the same, especially because the pricing here is so much better than Yu-Gi-Oh.
ain't it though?
Yeah, the those promos, I'm searching for them.
They're tight.
But I've got myself into situations at least 2 times, and I know that's 12 matches. It's not going to be a 12-match tournament, so I don't know how much I need to worry about 2 times where I was not having any zeros in discard when I needed them.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think there's like any merit to playing other things like Recovery Girl's Kiss, like other zeros instead?
No. And that's part of the reason I want to take out overhead reversal is because if you don't have the 0, this card is a blank throw. Whereas this card just says you still get to draw the card.
Yeah.
And so like this card's like a 3 high block that always does damage, right? But they're probably playing that same wall cling face shield that you are. This card says that all of your moves get +1 speed for the rest of the turn if you play it first. Or if they blocked 3 times, it gets +4 damage. And so it's a 5 low for 5, or sorry, a 6 low for 5 in your character on a 4 diff at bare minimum. At minimum.
Yeah, my play style so far with this deck has never been to like string a bunch of attacks together to where the +1 speed is that impactful, especially whenever back alley haymaker is a 5 diff, so I want to be starting out with it or knife slice if I draw it or cannon blast if I draw it. I don't want to push out a 4 on the tongue whip whenever I could just save it for later.
Right. That's fair. That's fair.
But I definitely have been noticing that overhead reversal is like a nice card, but it's not anywhere near the level of back alley haymaker. So
correct.
It getting it pushed out to like a 2 of is definitely understandable.
I can do 2, and we got to put tongue whip in. You're gonna see the light with this card, I promise.
Yeah.
And then I want to take Neck Gun Surprise, drop it down to a 2 of, boop, and I'm gonna put in Naval Laser Beam. At a 1 of. This Breaker 2 is correct. Breaker 2 is a turn ender. This is a 6 mid for 8 in your character. So it's both an offensive card and a defensive card, and it is a great use of momentum. First enhance, I will unflip 2 Excited for Bloods. Okay, your enhance. Yeah, I guess I do have to block this. I'm not allowed to let you gain +1, +8, or +8. I'm not allowed to let you do that as Mina. I worked hard to kill you, and this card is just like very, very good. To the point where like a lot of these life decks are playing like 2, 3, even 4 copies of this card because it just like it hits hard, and in worst case scenario, it's a 2 mid block Breaker 2. Like it's probably better than Knife Slice. Probably. I get that Knife Slice is very fast, but this 1 mid block that is like okay is not as good as a 2 mid block that ends my opponent's turn early.
Yeah, I really hate to tell you, but that's just one of the cards that I haven't had like in physical possession, unfortunately, so far.
Hey, that's fine. That is totally chill.
Not to say that I won't just like pick it up from a vendor at the regional, honestly, right. Because I read the card and I see that it's nuts, and it definitely looks like better than Knife Slice for sure.
Let me look.
Just stuff in the deck with Breaker 2 and the Copy Harden with Breaker 1 is also really nice.
It looks like Unfun Stuff is completely out of stock for them. So
damn.
Rough.
Yeah.
I was gonna get you 5% off, but nope.
Hey.
I refuse. The last things to talk about is I just want to talk about the classic Mina things, the tried and true stuff that like people know and love. Home Run Comet, Zero Gravity Lift, playing Home Run Comet at the end of a big string because of the fact that we have charge high. This thing accidentally gets pretty big, as well as zero gravity lift. It keeps your card pool down. It is guaranteed damage. I mean, I personally think zero gravity lift is better than overhead reversal, but I can see where you disagree with that. This card just lets me sling more attacks on a turn, whereas this card builds a card in committed, I guess. Starts at lower base damage. It still has that same 3 high block. And like imagine you foundation. Oh, I checked my zero gravity lift. All right, I'll discard it, play zero gravity lift. All right, I'll give it the +1 speed. Okay, it hits, it goes. All right, I'll play back alley haymaker, and the first thing I do is it's gonna go to my momentum when I'm done with it. Imagine discarding back alley haymaker from your card pool after you got done. Stun 2, draw the card, give it the speed. Okay, now it's in my momentum. All right, now I'm gonna continue. Oh, I have a momentum. Oh, it looks like my naval laser beam is now alive. So now when I paid my 4 life with my double excited for blood, flipped and gained my 8, I'll first enhance naval excited for blood and then pop off this turn. And this was on a 5. Like there's so many things that this card like lets you do. It's very good.
Yeah. I put zero gravity lift in, like, I slam it in a ton of decks, but I just thought maybe it wasn't worth trying in this deck because no other card in the deck has like inherent synergy with it, like, you know, a meteor shower or something like that. It just, you know, clears the card pool out, and the 5 diff is a little unfortunate whenever you're stringing together attacks. Correct. I kind of want to be able to put the deck into a position where it is doing, you know, 3 attacks, and then, you know, I check an attack when I'm starting to build foundations, and then just, you know, slam out the 4th one.
Yeah, this card, this card is really good by its lonesome as a poke, as opposed to it being a part of the combo, right?
Yeah.
With that said, though, as soon as you poke with one of them, for every other one that you find, it's just free, right? I'll zero gravity lift my zero gravity lift and zero gravity lift my zero gravity lift and zero gravity lift my zero gravity lift. Oh, my card pool's still clean. I actually slung 24 damage at you, all of which healed me a life.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I don't know if we necessarily have room because we like the overhead reversal, which is totally chill. It's just, what do you value more, that +1 build for the next turn, or the -1 progressive for the next turn? -1 progressive, keep that momentum, yada yada yada.
I've actually liked much more the fact that overhead reversal like has really nice synergy with tight-lipped. I can then, you know, flip the foundation and give a damage to my attack. I can then release to pop that foundation even if it's tapped, you know, get value from it, or self-sacrifice and pop it and push for even more damage. Like,
right.
I'm not necessarily thinking, oh, this is going to help me ramp. I'm thinking this is a tool that I can use with other foundations that are already on the board.
Fair. Totally fair. Besides that, though, I mean, I think because we're so married to this number, which is totally chill, there's not a lot of room for the bonus stuff. I got this number not to be at 6, and so I'm going to call that a win for me.
Yeah. Like personally, that's kind of exactly what I was looking for, because I never really got into a position where I needed more low blocks. I was just, you know, seeing my face shields or my wall clings and kind of surviving off of that, and then, you know, actually just hitting the natural highs and mids. But if you think that lows are that prominent that I need to dedicate that much of the deck to it, then that's definitely fair.
I played a locals with Denki 2. I'm a 6-hand size with 25 health. Not a ton of health, but enough. I go ahead and I build out 4 foundations on my turn 1, and I have my 3 cards in hand because I went second, facing off against Ochako 2 under air. They proceed to go 13 million volts, stun 1. I'll commit a foundation. You'll commit 1, give it 2 speed, give it the 2 damage. Okay, pick it back up, slam it back down, hit you with it again, and then play another volt, and then they hit me for 30 damage on turn 2 by just drawing 2 indiscriminate shocks. And there's nothing I can do about it. If I had a 1 low block in my hand with this self-sacrifice, maybe I could have done something, right? I could have blocked the first one, even if it was check a 5 to try and live. The fact that low attacks, they do exist. The fact that like do you want to lose to Sero? because this is how you lose to Sero. he'll just kill
Yeah.
you, right? And so like if you aren't even remotely prepared for that, you have to go X2 to get out of day 1. And so
Yeah.
when round 3 of the tournament you've had a Sero that's had a lucky break, a good path, your Mina deck is going to lose to him. They just are because you had the 6 low blocks, right?
So how much do you value the like higher, high value target being a 3, glamorous being a 3, like, because at that point I feel like an indiscriminate shock's going to come out, my board's going to be completely stunned by Denki, and I'm going to have this 3 in my hand that's I'm not going to be able to check a 6, so I'm just going to die anyway.
That is well. So like this will give you the chance to, because you have things like release, right? Because this isn't a 3 anymore. It's actually a 1, and this isn't a 1. It's a -1. And so like the fact that we have release out, like we even have a chance to block this, right? But if you have 6 low blocks in your deck, then if they play 7 low attacks, they're not full blockable. You just can't. It's not possible. And that means you didn't build a single self-sacrifice or a single high-value target. You just didn't do that.
Yeah, I get you. So what about the when you hypothetically are in the top tables and you're facing off against the Tokiyamis or the even like Ochakos and Asuis who have a ton of high attacks, and you're just sitting with the lows in your hand?
Build them so that you can actually block with your highs.
And then you have to keep things like release that are just seem like
you keep excited for blood in your hand.
That's definitely fair. That comes up way more than I would like to admit. I thought excited for blood would just be like the card that I'm like a back alley haymaker, where I'm just so happy to have it in the deck, but sometimes I just build it and then for the rest of the game it's hell.
Back alley haymaker. You hold back alley haymaker because this card isn't killing them, but frog lashing does kill you. So you'll find another back alley haymaker, right? We're a draw 6 game, draw 7 game. So it's not draw 1 per turn. You're going to go find your attacks. You just have to not die.
Okay.
Yeah. That is there's a very famous saying in universes that goes aggro wins games, defense wins championships. And so if your deck is not able to defend itself, then you need to have the wherewithal to play solid defense the best that you can, and your character gets to do it really well because you have access to, I checked this really cool defensive piece. Oh, I'll trade it out. Hey, this is on my board now, which is really cool.
So one like mathematical thing that I've noticed is that I went from 6 low blocks to 12 low blocks, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what's been added. Does low block count get, or I guess a low amount of a block get considered whenever you are playing things like Face Shield and Wall Clings? Because I am actually playing the 4 Face Shield plus 2 Wall Clings, which equals out of 6.
Yeah, totally, 100%. Which means that like this is I wouldn't count Wall Cling as, because like it's on I wouldn't count Wall Cling because it gets flipped, but I would count Face Shield. So like we've got 16 here, right? We've got 16 here and we've got 23 there. Wall Cling can be interacted with, which is why I wouldn't count it. They apathetic your Wall Cling. What do you do? They negate your Wall Cling with whatever. What do you do? Right? Like this card's so much harder to interact with, but it will be interacted with because the stadium is going to be out and available for people.
Oh yeah, for sure, definitely. That's why I think Wall Cling is down to the 2 of, especially just introducing more for control into the deck wasn't something I was a fan of.
Yeah, that makes sense. I can just tell you with my experience that anytime that I have ever played that low of a low block count, it has just not worked out for me. I find the bad matchup. You're gonna get smacked up by a Nomu who half his deck is lows, and you're like, well, okay, I guess I just didn't draw my face shields.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
How have you been feeling about Cannon Blast? Because I have it as a 2 of, because I feel like it is probably going to be a 4 of in decks like Asui, where it's actually has innate synergy with like Frog Lashing, Readying Foundations to be committed away. But I have it as a 2 of in here because it can be kind of a cumbersome card whenever you play a 5 and then you check a 5 and you're like, okay, that's awesome, but then you end up committing 3 away as if you checked a 2 or something like that. And then now you're trying to play even more attacks. I just have it in as a 2 of because I don't have any inherent synergy with it.
I think that's fine. It kind of takes up this knife slice spot, right? So they're 5 diff, 5 low for a 5, or 6 low for 5 in your character. 6 low for a 6 in your character because it burns them for 1, right? Yeah. And then so this card is just like a 5 diff, 5 high for 5. That when it goes to kill them, right? You then commit the extra 2 resources, and we don't care, right? They can't hit you back if they're dead. And so like when this becomes an 8 diff, it isn't an 8 diff because we don't mind it.
That's definitely fair. I don't even know why I haven't looked at the card as just being a 5/5, and that that's pretty good on its own, honestly.
Yeah, it's great. it feels good. You don't have to press the buttons. Yeah, you don't gotta press any buttons at all, right?
Yeah, definitely.
All right, man. Is there anything in here that you vehemently disagree with, that you just don't like that I added or took away or whatever?
Definitely not. I'm vibing with it.
Tight. I am. I'm excited to see you in Florida. It's gonna be fun. I'm excited to see you go win the whole thing, man.
Oh yeah, we'll definitely meet in finals for sure.
Well, I'm commentating the event, so I don't get to.
Yeah, I don't get to do that. You'll be talking about me. I
will be talking about you. Can't wait for the interview. It's gonna be tight. All right, man. Well, I will stay on the line long enough for me to shoot you this deck list over, just because it's your first one. All you're going to do is you're going to click the copy button, and then it will copy everything that's on here.
Oh yeah, for sure. Thank you.
All right, you're very welcome, man. We'll catch you next time. Peace.
All right.